I'm Rebecca Downs, original music artist from Birmingham, UK. Welcome to Series 3 of my podcast, Downs Your Way, in association with Blues in Britain magazine. For further details of me, the magazine, or my guests, please follow show notes below. In Series 2, I took a look at the state of the UK grassroots blues rock scene in discussion with some of my fellow artists. Now, 2 years on, I'm returning to the same ground to look at the current state of play. My hypothesis, based on my own experience and from what I hear from others, is that things have gotten a lot worse. So the plan is to test this in discussion with some artists, managers and others from around the scene who I know have strong views on the issues that we face. Join us as we lift the bonnet and look at the engine of our scene to assess how well it's running. If you ever wanted to know what artists discuss when we're backstage, well, at the moment the conversation is usually based around what the podcast covers. We're not having a moan, we're just talking honestly. I hope you find it interesting. In this first episode, I talked to my brother from another mother, Alan Nimmo, leader in every sense of the fabulous King. In Series 2, Alan's honest and heartfelt revelations about the challenges he was facing caused quite a stir. So he was a logical choice to kick off this series. Let's see what he has to say this time. Right, so joining me today is, well, who is it other than my big bro, Alan Nimmo from the incredible King. Come on, one of the heroes of the scene. How you doing, Al? How you doing?
Hello, Bex. Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. In a sweaty Birmingham flat. Yeah, I'm all right. You look very posh there, though. You look very
Well, you know what? It's actually quite warm up here as well, for a change.
What, in Scotland? Are you joking?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I know. Strange as it is, but it does. It's a wee bit warm. And especially with me being up in the loft, there's not a lot of air, and it gets a bit hot and sweaty up here, but not for a good way.
You need some aircon.
Yeah, I do. I've got a flap there that I can, like a little hatch thing I can open, but I'm afraid it might actually blow away.
Oh,
so I'm going to keep it closed. I'll just have a big hole in my roof.
Oh my God. So it's all happening at the moment. It always is happening. You never seem to take a minute's rest, to be honest with you. Ever since I've sort of known you, I don't think you've ever took a minute's rest.
Not for the want of trying.
Not for want of trying, but you're all over. So you've got the pre-sales have gone out, haven't they, this Monday?
Yeah.
The new album. What's the new album called again?
New album's called Light Up the Sky.
Light Up the Sky.
Yeah. It's all been a bit crazy as usual. Well, as you know as well, but we musicians tend to not really thrive when we're given too much time. We tend to waste that doing other things. So then we get to a point where it's like, right, okay, the deadline now is rapidly coming towards me, and I can see it, and we start to get a bit kind of twitchy. But as always, I will always get there. I get there, I deliver it, and that'll be the same this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the single did well, didn't it? It was A-list playlisted on Planet Rock.
Yes. So the first single, "Cried Out for Love," was being played on Planet Rock, and the second single, "Strong," it's called, has just been playlisted as well. So we're getting some airplay on that. So and apparently, I mean, I don't really take much to do with the social media anymore, but I'm being told that I'm kept informed that it's receiving some good feedback. So that's nobody's wrote a scathing "I hate this" comment yet, but the day is young.
Yeah, even if they do, it doesn't matter. It's what you think, and
well, exactly.
what the true fans think. So guys, you've got to get.
It's about what everyone else thinks, Rebecca. Come on, everyone on the internet. That's there.
Don't even go there, Alan. I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. You wouldn't believe the amount of nervous breakdowns I've only narrowly got away with them. Jesus Christ. It's a lot. So anyone listening, please, the pre-order is out and running. So go to the website, go to the Facebook page, hit up the pre-order. That means a lot to every artist. No matter what any artist or band says, those pre-orders really, really, really help. So please go along and
Oh, absolutely,
hit it
yeah,
up,
yeah.
man. Hit it up. So it's going to be another corker. You know it always is. So, it's going to be another corker. Go
No
check.
pressure, thanks, Rebecca.
No pressure whatsoever. Is it? Come on.
Of course it will be.
It's so, just going on to that for a second though, it's like, it is so goddamn frigging scary. I'm trying not to swear, guys. So it's so scary, isn't it? I get so scared. I think the palpitations, the lot, about releasing new music.
Be honest, I feel for you there because I don't get that way about it.
You not?
Nah,
What?
what for? What's the point?
Oh,
It
Alan,
is
I
what
need
it
some
is, and
tips.
if you're happy with the work, if you're happy with what you've done, then you should have no trouble releasing that. It's only to me. It's only if I'm looking at this thinking, okay, this is done, this is finished now, and I'm about to say, right, this is the product, and now we're going to get it ready for getting out there on the for the public to hear.
Yeah.
But if I've got any doubts about the music and about doubts about the strength of the songs, the quality of the songwriting, or the arrangement, or the sound, anything, if I've got doubts about that, I simply just will say, nope, it's not going out and needs to be done. It needs to be done better than this. It needs to be fixed. Or if I truly think that I can't do any better than that, but I still know that it's not right, but I don't know how to make it any better, then you got a bit of a problem. But to be honest, I never. I mean, this it's the same with. I mean, the amount of times I've gone back and forward, just with this last song, "Strong," that's just been released. The amount of times I went back and forward with the most minute detail. People. You would think some people might think, "Man, you're nuts! Like you're crazy! Like you're talking about the tiniest little thing." But you know what? The detail is what counts, and every
Absolutely.
single detail from start to finish.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part where you have to. I mean, this song could have been released 5 times ago, and
Yeah.
and and I would be sitting here right now going, "Oh no!" When I listen to it, I'm thinking, I'm just be so frustrated. So every single time I've come back and I've said, "No, no, no, that's not quite right. No, no, that's not quite right." And I'm talking about words,
Yeah.
a word, or the way I sang one word,
Yeah.
or anything like that. I just every little single thing matters, and if you get to a point where, without going crazy about it, without going like, because to be honest, if you're going back and forward so many times, and it's not a good enough song.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about just little nuances in the detail to make it right. And that's the important part, and that's the stuff that people miss. That's the stuff that people don't see. They just see they just hear a song, or they just think, "Oh, wow, look at that," and that's how easy that is. But it's not, but it's your job to make them only hear what they're supposed to hear. If you know what I mean,
I
it's like
do.
you want to have them have that melody come to them, that hook, that catch. That's the part. If all those other details that you've put a load of work in need to go over their head. I know that sounds a bit crazy to some people who might be listening. It's like, well, what's the point in doing it then if you don't want them to hear it? But if they're not right, they will hear it. But if the details are put in correctly, they don't. All they hear is the important part to them. That's the important part for the listener,
I
and that's
totally
that's
get it.
that's the hard work that goes into it. That I think a lot of people don't get. They don't see that, but that's fine with me. I don't care for people wanting to see any of that. That's our job. That's what we do. That's the air of mystery in this game we call showbiz, and that's what our job is,
It is, isn't it? And
to make them relax and enjoy the song.
exactly. And I always say that, when I'm teaching people vocals, it's you're making the effortful look effortless.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
your job. You're meant to
Mm.
make it look easy. And that's why, it's exactly the same. And I will do exactly the same. I'll go over like one word, or just the way that I sang one word will make all the hell, and I'll have to
Mm.
re record it. And there's nothing else I can do. And that's just the way it
Mhm.
is, isn't it? But yeah,
Yeah.
I need some tips from you because I do get, I get him. I just, I think going on to social media, I know that you said like that you kind of have taken a step back a little bit from it, and I know that when you started
Well,
putting
I
it
say a little bit. I mean, completely.
right, okay.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
do it at all anymore.
so talk to me about that. How did that come about? Like you just said, I can't do this anymore.
Right. Well, you know what? found myself, right, okay, well, I've got, on a bigger scale of things, I've got a massive, massive issue with social media because I think it's ruining humanity, to be honest. I mean, I don't get me started on a rant. It's like the boys in the band always laugh. Oh, here he goes again. Here he goes again on a rant about social media. But I honest to God, I mean, I think even if you look at the new young generation now, the Generation Z or whatever they're called nowadays. Oh God, I even hate saying
And there's
them.
Gen Alpha as well now,
Oh,
by the
no.
way.
Right. Oh, well,
Don't even
we're
get
getting
me
are we getting even older? There's even another one now, right? Well, exactly. But I mean, they all seem to be grown up on this stuff, and it's like their Bible. And I think it's caused massive issues with people being able to communicate. Nobody can talk anymore. Nobody knows how to, and people just believe anything they're told. And it seems to be just like it seems to just be destroying everything. And I genuinely feel like social media should be shut down and just thrown away. And we all should just say, right, you know what, that was a bad idea. Let's not do that again. But which is a shame because of the way that it was for as a work tool for people like ourselves and other businesses as well was very, very good. But it's not getting used for that for the most part. It's just creating all sorts of hell in the world, and and I can't stand it. But yeah, that was the main reason why I just stopped doing it. But other than that, it's like, you know what? It's like I found myself, you know what? I can't. I started hating myself for getting up every morning, picking the phone up, and immediately going to it. And it's like, what for? Why am I doing this? What am I looking for? And I thought, no, I don't want this. And I've never felt such relief, to be honest, since I've come away from that and stopped. It's like I sit and I watch other people just, just constantly their face buried in this wee screen, and it's like, you know what? Have a look up, look at the world. It's beautiful, Let's stop this. And so I've never felt such that relief of like, oh man, it's like a weight's lifted off my shoulders. Like it's great not being on there, and I'll never go back to it ever.
I mean, I'm very jealous. I think I definitely need to take social media breaks, and I know, because I mean, I know but I teach at a couple of universities, and we do talk about. There's been a lot in the press recently, and the Music Managers Forum about social media burnout for artists, and especially younger artists,
Yeah.
because when we're talking to them and when they're getting to know exactly how much content they have to produce, what's recommended to push an emerging
Yeah.
artist into
Yeah.
wherever they want to go. It's sometimes you're talking about, 30 short form videos a week and
Yeah.
even more, like
But
unbelievable
you
amounts of
see,
work.
imagine that, like that alone by itself is you're spending more time doing that than you are actually creating what you're trying to push. That's got to get in the way of that. And and imagine for some of us, ones that are slightly above 21,
Just,
and but yeah,
oh no,
and even
it's
those of
not
us with
that much.
families, it's like, when have you get time for any of that?
No, I know
Like,
it's a
really,
lot.
I mean, and to be honest, if that's what it takes nowadays, that's I think the industry's gone in a very, very wrong direction. I think it's we're focused more on that kind of thing than we are on it. But then everything else that we've known about how this game works and how it went when we were young, it's all gone now. I mean, it's like, you, and I mean, I'm very defiant when it comes to this, and it's probably a mistake, but because this is the way it's gone. And if you want to carry on succeeding, you probably have to get on the bandwagon. But I refuse. I just refuse, and I'm just not going to do it that way, because just because everyone else is doing it doesn't make it right.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm gonna hold out, because I know there's others like us. There are others, and eventually I think something's got to give, and I'll try and keep my faith that music itself will always prevail. It'll always come back. that's becoming more and more difficult to believe as years pass by. But I'm still going to hold out faith because I don't want to go down this road. I think it's a bad way to go, and I think it will ruin. I think it will ruin music. I think it will make music very, very unimportant to the generations. I think it's that way already. Yes, but we can't afford to get that, to make that any worse. I'm observing nowadays that, you know, how music's viewed by younger people, and it's not viewed the same way. I mean, okay, you have to have some kind of understanding for that, but I think when you and I were young, music was what there was. There was music. There was movies. You went to the cinema. There was music, and so there was music television. There was music retail. You know, I'm pretty certain that, you know, when you were a teenager, Saturday came and it was like, oh, I know what I did. I went to Taylor Records and I went to browse about buying a new record or even even a CD. Yeah, you're sitting there looking at all the, you know, you go down the alphabet looking for your favourite bands. No, that doesn't exist anymore, and I find that it's a shame. To be honest, it doesn't make a difference to how corrupt the record industry is, but I think it's always been the same in that sense. That's a different discussion, which I'm sure we'll get to. But it's just not the same anymore, and kids now don't know that. They don't know that, like waiting for the chart show to come on, or, you know,
getting excited.
Getting excited, getting your TDK tape out and taping the charts on Sunday.
We all used to
pause and play.
We all used to do it, because we couldn't afford to buy it because music was expensive.
Yeah,
and I think that's what people forget. And my point, I think, to the kids, and sort of part of the reason, like, for this next sort of series of podcasts, is the fact that I'm going to quote my amazing manager, Colin Spellerer, when he said, music isn't monetizable anymore, but musicians' dreams are.
Well, that's a beautiful quote from Colin.
What do you think about
that pans out?
Yeah. Because it's like there's a huge industry now involved in getting money from musicians, whether that's buying plays on Spotify, or it's buying plays on YouTube, or it's sponsorship on your content on Facebook and Instagram and all the rest of the channels that we all have to sort of try and be on, and all the rest of it.
Well,
so getting money from musicians is actually quite easy, but making money out of music is actually probably.
Well, I mean, look at us right now. Well, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we would never have dreamed we'd be sat here doing things like this. And it makes me quite sad, really, to be honest. It's not, like I say, music's becoming not that important anymore, and that's something very dangerous. I think that's. I don't think we can. I think we need to battle to save music.
I think, it needs like a reset button. I mean, you'll never put the genie back in the bottle, but there's a lot wrong with a lot of the music streaming platforms that are existing, and the way that they operate and monetize, you know, what they do. And a good friend of mine, Steve Gibbons, once said to me, back in the day when I was sort of starting this new band under my name, and I was going to ticketed gigs instead of just playing with people free entry. And he said, Rebecca, if people don't pay for it, they don't respect it.
Well, that's true.
And I think that's a broader now term for music in general, because if you can get music for free, there's no value in it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
well, I suppose that brings back to the same point, doesn't it, about the younger generation who've grown up with. Oh, sorry, I've got that. Who've grown up with music being pretty much free to them. It's like, you know, you're watching all these festivals, and it seems to me that young kids they're not buying tickets for festivals because their favourite band's playing. You know, they're going because someone happens to be there that had a song that was on their Spotify playlist that was recommended to them by Spotify. So it's all done for them, and it's all there, and it's not. So it ends up being, I suppose, something else. But maybe, you know, not to say that a lot of the festivals over the years have not been used for other things other than listening to music. But Just seems to be a bit more and more of that these days. It's whoever's on a stage seems to be less important to why people are there. Especially in the UK, anyway. I'd say.
Are you talking about some of the bigger festivals? Or are you
I'm talking about the bigger festivals.
Yeah.
You know, those are the ones that, you know. Again, we spoke about this before. Like, you know, and you know, these big festivals are, as far as I can see, that, you know, they could be in danger here of disappearing, because they're not showing any support to anyone coming up. I mean, we've had the 80s heritage bands, as we want to call them. Now they've moved on to the 90s bands. They're bringing all them back out the cupboard, because that's the only. But these are the only bands that promoters are willing to take any kind of risk on. They're not willing to. They're not willing to take any kind of financial risk on any other bands below that, because, well, and to be honest, from a business point of view, quite right, because none of us are selling that amount of tickets that can sell out a big festival like that. But there's a reason for that too, because we've been ignored. We've had no support. And there's been no platform for us, you know, apart from what we have to do by ourselves on the internet, which is a hit and a miss, whether you can get people to look in at it or not. But there's no music television, there's no promotion, there's no big promotion anymore, and there's no help.
There's no investment, is there, into like sculpting and helping and artists that are at a lower level, when, you know, there's no sort of signing like there was anymore. And I think all the things you're talking of as well, like, you know, you've got to do the social media content, you've got to do this and that. And of course, if you've got a lot of money behind you, and we're not putting anyone down that's got a lot of money, who's got or has a lot of financial backing, that's just sod's law. That's just the name of the game.
Yeah.
But if you have, it makes a massive difference.
Of course it does. I mean, money's always talked. But I mean, the thing is, as well, the difference is, as well, is that the younger generation have grown up with social media, like you say, and the only way they've ever known how to go about this and how to promote is through their social media, which is gathering momentum for themselves, because they're reaching out to a similar age group. Now, that's great. That works for them. That's good, but it doesn't necessarily work for us, because we're a bunch of, you know, as far as they're concerned, we're just a bunch of old folk, and they're not. So it takes triple the amount of work to get them to actually spend 5 seconds going, oh, wait a minute, I'll actually look at this. Yeah. Other than that, they're just not. It's like, nope, too old, nope, nothing to do with me, nothing. I don't know it, don't recognise it. Looks like my dad. Not off. That's it. That's that.
It's true.
It makes it harder for us. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it doesn't work for us without putting the amount of effort in that's not feasible.
Yeah,
and not practical.
Absolutely, there is like a demographic that sits right at the heart of that. And I mean, some of the kids that I work with, and I call them kids, but you're talking 21-year-olds or whatever, kids.
Yeah,
it does work, but it's still in very incremental, tiny steps, and it's got to be consistent to the point of almost being sort of a prison sentence. And it's got to be of a high quality. It's got to be different content for different sort of platforms.
But you've got to ask as well, what's the motive? What's the drive behind that for some of the younger ones? Is it because there's going to be a while before they actually make any money, and from what I know from my observations of the younger generation, the amount of money that people want to make is ridiculous. I mean, it's just like it's just like they want to have footballer wages by sitting in their mum's dead bedroom in front of something like this. That's not going to work, and it's not going to. And if it does work, it's going to take a long time. But what I see more and more is the need for fame. They want to be famous.
That's
before they get anything else. It's all about wanting to be. It's like it's the whole click and like thing. It's like they feel like validated if they've got 1 million followers on a social media site. It's for for pouring Mentos into a bottle of Coke. Do you know what I mean? It's you want to be famous. What do you want to be famous for? Like, do you not want to? Do you not want to do anything worthwhile and like that you can be proud of? Like something a bit of work that you can be proud of. And they want to be famous for nothing. They don't want to have to do anything for that fame. That's. I'm not saying that of all of them, right? So I'll state that at the moment. That's not everyone I'm saying. I'm not sweeping across the board there, but let's face it, it is quite a lot, and that's what bothers me a lot about all the modern world.
I've come across that a lot, and especially I even though I'm a singer myself, obviously a lot with younger singers, and I've said the same thing. Why do you want to be famous? Because when I look back to when I was 13 and joined my first band, and the people that were with me, I'm still in touch with,
Yeah,
and we didn't even talk about things like that. We talked about, oh my God, imagine if we could get a gig there.
yeah,
And I'm not talking Wembley. I mean, like
yeah.
the pub
One of
down
the
the
one of the
road.
pubs down the road that has regular bands on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine if
exactly.
we could get in there. Imagine if we could get a gig in Birmingham. Oh my God. Because, we were from Wolverhampton, so it's a big city, isn't it?
Yeah,
And we were never going, oh, but when we're playing Wembley, like nobody, I can't remember. You know what? I might have erased my mind, but I don't think any one of us ever spoke on that level.
no, I didn't. I certainly didn't either. Um, I remember working in a school. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I remember working in a school and sat with a bunch of second year kids in high school. And so they were like, 13, 14 years old.
Mm.
And we were chatting about choosing what subjects to take for their exams, etc. And I sat with a bunch of boys and girls, and I said, like to one of the lads, what would you like to do when you leave school? He said, I want to be a footballer. I thought, all right, great. I said, let me ask you though, like, why? What do you want to be a footballer for? And I said, before you answer, I'm expecting either because I play football every day in my life, I love it. I think, eat, sleep football all the time. I love the game. I want to be, I want to be a fit sportsman. I want to be a role model. Every answer I got from 5 boys was, I want to be famous.
Mm.
I want to be famous. That's it. So that's the only answer they had. Yeah, I want to be a footballer because I want to be famous.
Mm.
But what was worse than that? And I think it's different nowadays for girls. But 3 out of the 5 girls that I sat with said, I'm just going to get pregnant and get a free house.
Oh, God.
Um, that's worrying.
That's very worrying. That's very
And I'm
worrying.
certain there are still young girls like that now, but I suppose nowadays there's a bit of a different argument, isn't there, going on. But I mean, it's the fact that to be a footballer, to be a musician, to be an artist, to be something, to do something that's creative in a sense, and it's not a job.
No.
It's not something you do because you want to be famous, because you want this. It's because you must. It's because every fibre of you says, if I don't do this, I'm not alive.
Yeah.
And that's missing. That's missing from so many people. And that's a shame.
I
Because
think it's
music is so important, and it's I don't think people nowadays realise just how important it is. And it's going to go away if we're not careful.
It is, and it's really obvious for me to like look at a bunch of young people that I'm working with, and immediately be able to see the ones that align with what you've said.
Mm.
It's all that they think about. They're playing music all the time. I see them around college with their guitar attached to them, like it's soldered on, and you can see it, and you can see the ones, and it's really obvious the ones that could stand a chance. And that's not standing a chance to be famous. That's standing a chance to possibly make a living in an industry that they're aligned to. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's not,
yeah,
oh, they're going to be at Wembley Stadium. It's they might be able to do certain aspects of a job
yeah.
that
They
are
don't
aligned
even
to the music industry.
they don't even they don't even go out to the pub anymore and go back to a house party and play a guitar and sing a song so they can score with a chick they fancy. It's like they don't even go there anymore. That reason is not even there anymore.
I mean, what's the point of being able to play a guitar, Alan, if you're not going to get all the birds? Come on.
Oh,
And I'm a
don't tell me
bird, so I
about
can say the word birds.
that. You get so many women hating you for that now.
Oh, I say it to negate it. You know, I say it to take off the shame of it.
Good.
But so it is a really valid point, and I think that probably is a massive conversation, but it comes out of like the horrible X Factor type thing that we all experience, sort of, and they would have grown up with that sort of reality star
Oh yeah,
from
yeah,
a singing a rubbish song, cover song
yeah.
on the stage to, you know.
I mean, I suppose that's something that we've got to, I don't know, I suppose kind of bear in mind, I suppose, a little bit, to an extent, that I mean, I think about my, my niece and nephew, my daughter even, um, that's all they've known. Having the internet and access to social media is all they've known.
Yeah.
Especially like my niece and nephew. That's social media was there when they were born, and that's you grow up and that's all you know. Then yeah, of course, it's difficult. It's like
So
it's like young university young adults nowadays in places like America. Someone will say 9/11 to them, and they kind of like they don't really. Oh yeah, well yeah, I heard about that. What was that again?
yeah,
Something
yeah.
about a building coming down. It's kind of like that. So you've kind of got to, I suppose, have a little bit more of an understanding that yeah, this is all they've known ever all their life. So okay, we get that. It's not like us. We've known a world without all of that. And I was talking to one of my pals about this, and he was talking about like a village he lived in. And he said what you did was like you got home from school on a Friday and you got your mum and dad's phone and you phoned this number and it was the phone box down in the middle of the village and somebody answered it and said, all right, who's there? Oh, me and John. Oh, Willie's coming down later. All right, I'll see you in 10 minutes. And that was that. I know it was things like that, and that's we've known all of that, but then we've also had to adapt into the world of technology and social media as well. Which I think is more difficult for, especially me, because I mean, God, I'm such a, I'm no good with technology whatsoever, and it's like as soon as I like, at least I'll see me picking my, opening up my computer, and she'll be like, "Are you going on that computer?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I hear the door shutting and the car screeching away. It's like I'm away out with the dog. Because all I do is then sit and I'm like, and I start swearing and shouting at it because it's just not doing what I want it to do. It's like, I mean, I belong, weirdly enough, in the time of Star Trek where I can just go, computer, computer, and it does it for you.
Well, it's nearly up, but it's nearly going down that road, isn't it?
Well, yeah, of
When
course,
you when you
yes.
think about AI, I mean, one of
That's,
my people, one of my colleagues I work with, the other, well, it was last year actually, said, "Hey, how about this, Beck?" And when I walked into the room, they'd asked AI to write a song in the style of me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
what it had done is it had scraped through all my lyrics, me
yeah.
and Steve's lyrics, obviously, scraped through all those lyrics and sort of pieced together a song in a similar style to me.
Okay, innit? I mean, well, I mean, here we go. I mean,
Do you know what I
that
mean?
we know what's coming.
It's
I mean,
scary.
it's like I'm sitting in the studio doing some stuff with our engineer Liam, and I'm saying, all right, I'll go and do the. I've done some vocals. I'll go and do the harmonies now. He's like, oh, you don't have to. I'll just get AI to create them. And I was like, And I'm sorry, I'm going to swear here. I said, don't you fucking dare.
I'm glad you said that.
I said, don't you dare, because that's never happened. Don't ever, ever, ever put anything like that on any. So you've got to sit beside him now to make sure.
Watch him.
I'm watching you, son. But I mean, this is what can. I mean, the way he was chatting to me about it all. But he's a young guy, and he's really up on all this stuff, and he's like, I can create an entire album without a musician being in the room.
Mm.
It's like that's really frightening.
It's frightening, and you sort of think,
because it goes back to what I was saying earlier about how music's not viewed the same way as we viewed it. So that's what I find frightening and a bit dangerous, because if people don't think about music, view music, or care about music the way we do, then they're not really going to care if they get an album that's made by AI or not. They don't really care. They're just getting some music. So it's not going to matter where it came from. And that's troublesome.
I think what's kind of brought that about as well is potentially, obviously relating back to the streaming models, but also the fact that people consume music in a different way now. So it's like, oh, Alexa, play me a chill out playlist.
Yeah.
And they won't be. So you could have, hundreds of thousands of streams on a song, but nobody's gone. And it could be in coffee shops. I had one that went in coffee shops, and we didn't do anything. I think they were trying to get us to sort of go, sort of invest in maybe having more on a playlist. And I was like, but nobody's properly consuming it. It's just background. So if it is just background, then it might as well be AI.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's in their ear, and and then of course, well, you could go down that whole road of like, you get in a studio and all that still costs the same amount of money, and you're recording it to these different levels, and 48K and blah 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 and all the rest of it, and blah blah blah, all these bit sizes. And it's all getting trashed into an MP3 anyway to stick in someone's ear on their phone anyway. So,
I mean, AI is useful, don't get me wrong, and I think, but it's got to have some sort of control over it. I mean, we've had AI, like you've said, in recording. I mean, God, most of the, I use Logic. All the plugins on Logic are AI, and they always have been, putting an effect on there and an effect on there. And it's all AI, but it's like, there's got to be just because you can doesn't mean you should sort of attitude,
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I suppose stuff like this is spreading and in film industry as well. I mean, you look at that, nobody's, everything's not, there's stuntmen are not getting any work anymore. Stuntmen and women, set builders, the crew guys, like the researchers, that are and guys that are building sets and creating stuff for film. I mean, it's all just getting done on a computer. So hundreds and thousands of people are now out of work in the film industry because someone can sit here like this and create it all digitally. That's okay. That's a skill that someone has, but that's also taking jobs away from loads of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a bit scary. And it's like, I mean, even watching. I mean, I used to watch YouTube because it was like, I think you watch music, you watch some bands playing. Now you open YouTube app up and it's like there's people talking that it isn't them. it's AI created, and it's like,
yeah.
and then I think, why? Well, why has someone done that? What for? What's the purpose? And it's not like it's anything important. It's just nonsense. Where's it all going to go? Where does it all end? Like you say, at what point do we start saying, right, we need to get some control over this because it's getting out of hand and we are systematically getting pushed out the door and made obsolete, and that's worrying. And it's going to come a point where, like we talked about earlier on, about like it'll always come back. It always disappears, then comes back. But at some point, there's going to be no road back. And that's it. How do we prevent that? And it takes a monumental effort from everyone. and people's greed needs to be curbed.
Absolutely, and I think, to try and get the value back into music, I think is everyone's. If you are a consumer of music or you're a player and creator of music, every time Spotify increases its monthly fee by sometimes just only £1,
Yeah.
the backlash is unreal to the amount of people that then close their accounts.
Mm.
And that's by £1 a month. And remember, we're talking about, £15 upwards to have access to all the music in the entire world, pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Shocking.
So it's like, it's great. And that's why I think coming back to like what you do and the fans that come to your gigs, I think the community around artists like yourself on a smaller level, me, is the community is the important. Those people that come to the gigs, those people that are buying the CDs, buying the merchandise.
Absolutely.
And they may be getting smaller, but they're getting more powerful and all power to them. And I mean, what do you think? Have you noticed, what changes have you noticed because of everything that we've talked about on a gig level and a venue level and on a touring level, because you're so busy? I mean, you gig less than you used to, if you don't mind me saying. Is there reasons for that when we've spoken about what we have?
I think between everything we've talked about, between COVID and everything else, and definitely the fact that it's harder and harder to extend your reach in terms of continuing to find new people, a new audience. And don't get, let me say, words can't describe how grateful we are to the people who have been coming to support us for so long. Some people have been with us since the beginning. Some people have, been there a long time. But the loyalty that's shown to us and that support is fantastic, and I'll always be grateful to everyone for that. I mean, people that know me, I don't say things like that just for showbiz. It's genuine to me. That's the reason I do this. It's like to have that kind of communication with that audience, engage with them. I mean, I'll sometimes make a joke about it, about like, seeing the whites of someone's eyes when I'm but I like to be in touch with people well, because I think as an artist you can make a difference to someone, whether it's for 5 minutes or a day. Sometimes you can make a difference to someone's life for a long time, and a lot of that starts with just meeting their eyes from a stage. And if you and you can tell, you can see, you get good at reading people, I suppose, in this business. For some reason it does hone that kind of skill, and if you're singing about something in particular, you can spot someone who's like looking like this is relating to me.
Yeah.
And then you try your best to sing your song to them, because it'll make them feel better, even if it makes them upset. You're getting them to emote, and it means something. That's the beauty of this business. That's what I love about this, and it's what we need to keep. It's what we desperately need to keep. But I mean, it's harder and harder to keep the audience coming. And it could be for several reasons. It could be the audience themselves. I mean, people have got so much in their lives now. The world seems to be a very, very busy place. Everyone seems to be so busy. There's no one really ever takes the time to sit back. I mean, even going out to a gig is supposed to be a night out and a nice time, but it's almost like it's stressful for some people.
Yeah.
Then I think that it's certainly harder for bands. It's certainly harder for us because, like you say, monetizing being in a band nowadays is so difficult. I mean, we're we go out and about, especially out to Europe, and I mean financially it's disastrous for me every time. But if we don't keep on doing it, we can't work our way through it, because if we don't do it, then there's nothing. We're not doing anything, and the people that want to come and see you aren't going to get to see you. But so there are a lot of people coming out to see, but there needs to be more, and it's hard to. It's very, very difficult to try and get more because it does take investment. But then again, at the same time, it's hard to know where to spend that money nowadays. It's not. We're not. It's very, very. There's no magazines.
No.
Radio is very, very, very difficult, as we all know. There's very, very few. And the other radio stations that do play us, and thanks very much to everyone that does play our music, they're very small, they're internet based, and they're spread across the world, and they have the same issue as us. They struggle to reach out to a wider audience as well. So not a lot of people are hearing that either. So it's an effect that just keeps on going. I think that since maybe the COVID time, I can see there is an improvement. I think it's moving forward, but it's been very, very slow. It is very slow, and I think all you can do is you're relying now. It was before it used to be the main bulk of your money came in through your merchandise, your album sales when you brought an album out, and your touring was for fun. The money you made from touring was basically what you used to buy a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
But now that's gone. You're relying on touring to make your money, so you've got to tour all the time, which means touring more and more often, which only makes it worse, because the more you play, the less people come out, because they'll just say, well, they're back here in 3 months, so I'll just go and see them then. So then your numbers drop. Yeah. So then you're consistently going and not getting any more people in the door. Mm. And it's because you have to keep on playing, because if you don't keep on playing, you can't earn any money. So then you're relying on selling merchandise. It's almost like, I know that nowadays you probably feel like yourself, like when you embark on the road on a tour, the biggest thing I'm thinking about now is making sure somebody's selling that merch, because it's the one thing that's going to keep us on the road.
Yeah, 100%.
And most of the time, it's the only thing I'll personally come home with.
Yeah.
But that's how I see this now. Is it moving forward? Is it not? I think it is, but not at the speed that we would like. And I don't know how long that can last before something else steps in its way and causes another hurdle for us to climb over. I don't know.
I mean, I noticed recently that, and I know you've done something similar to this before, when we've sort of been privileged to share a stage with you, and you've done sort of a VIP thing. And I know from speaking to a number of different bands throughout the years that a lot of the time, and I think people would be surprised, even sort of quite well-known, well-established bands have admitted to me that if they didn't do the VIP tickets, this tour would not be sustainable. Yeah. And I know some people are kind of divided on the VIP thing. But I think what's important to stress to people that artists don't do it well, they might do it at Taylor Swift's level to make a few million, but on a regular level, it's done to make it sustainable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
not for going out and buying a new car,
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's literally to cover. It's literally to make sure that you're covered and make sure that, like you say, it's financially viable. Because otherwise it wouldn't be. But there's that sense of, I don't know, pride. Maybe call it Scottish pride if you want. But I struggle with things that I struggle asking. I struggle asking people for their money for things like that, and I know that they're getting something extra. I know that, and And if you're a true fan, like if it was me, if this was years ago and Free were doing a tour and they said, oh, you can pay a bit extra money for and you can come in, watch the sound check and get a photograph and chat to us and get stuff signed. I'd be first in line.
Yeah.
I really would, but I understand that some people are sceptical about things like that, and like you say, it's not through greed. I mean, but there's also a pride in me that doesn't want to say exactly what it's for. You know what I mean?
No,
But
and I don't think you need to do that, but I just
no.
wanted to stress the point that I think people would be surprised that, it's not a greed thing. And I think sometimes, I've seen comments and other people that have put VIP tickets, and
Mm,
I haven't waded in because I don't want to get into sort of some slanging match, but I just want people to really know and appreciate that if it wasn't necessary, artists wouldn't be doing it.
mm, mm.
That's literally it, guys.
Yeah.
Literally it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Absolutely. Because I mean, we are doing some VIP tickets on this tour in October, and like you say, there's like I say, if it was me, I'd be one of the people that would buy one of those tickets because I'd like to see a
Yeah.
slightly behind the scenes type thing with one of my favourite bands. I'd like to see that. I'd like to get a chance to even have a quick chat with them and yeah, but yeah, I get it that it's extra money for folk, and that's difficult in this day and age. I totally appreciate that, absolutely. But yeah, the honest answer is that sometimes if we don't do these things,
The
there's a
tour
good
wouldn't.
chance the tours might just not happen
It might not
because
happen,
I can no longer afford to keep losing and losing and losing on these things. It's very very difficult. But um, but like I said, I do see a difference from a few years back. It is moving forward again, but it's put it this way: if it was 5 years before COVID, the rate of progression would have been a lot quicker, a lot more
Yeah.
than what it is 5 years after COVID.
Yeah.
But that's something we just have to live with. That's what it is. That's how it is.
Absolutely. I think I was just looking today on just the old TikTok. Sorry, I do watch a lot of dog and cat videos. What can I say? Like they just make me happy. Dog and cat videos. All right,
You've
leave me
got a dog
alone.
beside you. Let
I
him look
know,
at him.
but I like the dog and cat videos. So anyway, but on TikTok, somebody shared and then I kind of looked at it online. Lana Del Rey's recent arena gigs in this country, where I think she did an hour or something like that, or not much more than an hour. Some of the set was a hologram of her
Wow.
singing, and for one, she was reading from a phone. Somebody said, I don't know how true that is. I couldn't I couldn't get the
Well, and it's
evidence for
just to
that.
have your phone with you at all times.
Oh well, it's getting to that point. But I think the point I'd like to make to people is, go and see a King show. You are getting a show that is a show. You're getting the music in your face. You're getting blood, sweat, and tears. You're not getting somebody go through the motions. And I hate
No.
arena shows. I've never liked arena shows. If I see an artist, I want to see the sweat on their face. I want to see them giving it. And that's
Well,
what
I think
people
the I
get.
think the difference is that I mean, let's not pretend there's not a King show's not full of frills, and it's not a massive set, being built behind us, and it's not
Don't need it.
not a big show like that. It's pretty much a good old fashioned, just a good old fashioned concert. It's a gig that we're standing there, we're playing everything. A lot of bands nowadays are pressing a lot of buttons and making a lot of things happen, making a lot of things come out speakers that they're not doing.
That's been
Um,
happening for a long old
I
time.
know it's been happening for a long time, and I'm no, we'll leave that. But we're on the stage. We are putting the blood, sweat, and the tears into it. We're playing, but more important than that is it's. I'm not going to pretend that King's reinventing the wheel. We're not. What we're doing is we're doing real music with real energy and real honesty and a whole lot of passion. that's what you get. And if you want to get that, if you want that experience, and you want to see a bunch of people doing something up there that they love, and they're doing it with the best of their ability, and they're doing it with all their heart and soul, then come and watch us. Absolutely, you won't go away disappointed. That's about as much as I can big up myself. I'm not good at that, but that's just the honest answer. If you want a big light show and you want a big fancy stuff in the background, then yeah, go see Iron Maiden. But if you want a real show that's gonna, if you listen, if you submit to it, and you let us in, then I guarantee you'll go home feeling a different way than when you first arrived.
Absolutely. And I think that if there's anything gonna bring people back from arena shows, like spending £300 on an arena show, to go and see other bands at smaller venues that are still not small venues, that's what, if you want to see real personal commitment to music and commitment to the songs they've written and to the performance and the energy, go and see a King show. Go and check out other artists. Don't go to the arena, or go to the arena as well.
Well, the thing is, I think that can, to be honest, I think that can be achieved at an arena. I think, it can only be achieved by the way you approach it.
Yeah.
A lot of arena shows now end up becoming more and more about the pageantry, the whole everything surrounding the artist, and less about the artist. And I think that's why I think a lot of arena shows, people tend to, you hear a lot of people like yourself, you hear a lot of people saying, well, I don't really like going to the big arena shows because it's very impersonal. And that's true of a lot of things, but it doesn't mean to say that it can't be achieved in an arena. You just have to approach it the same way. You have to approach an arena show in a very similar way you approach a venue show. But the difference being that how you tailor your music for an arena. You have to be able to still capture their attention. You have to be able to still engage with them. So you've got to tailor your music for bigger stages. While a lot of people, I think, tend to not tailor the music at all. I think they forget about the music, and they tend to focus on what's around them. And that's where the arena shows go wrong, I think. But that's my opinion. I don't know if I'm right about that or not. But I think if you can, I believe that I could stand in an arena stage and do my best to engage with that audience and get as many of them as possible. You're never going to get right to the back row. Of course you're not. There's always going to be somebody standing in the back row talking about how great you are and never listen to a word you've sang. But that's just the world we live in.
No, you could definitely communicate on that level. And you have played some unbelievably big venues and some amazing shows. Like, I don't want to take your time up for too long, but
right.
So what? I mean, Kate Nash has spoken about this a lot recently. I know I shared a video with you, and she's still going on talking about it. She's, and I think somebody, I know, and you've got people in the comments saying, oh, she was just a one-hit wonder anyway, and all this. It's like, well, she kind of wasn't, and I know she was of a time, and she sort of turned to OnlyFans to try and make some money. And I know some people might laugh about that. It is funny on one hand, and it's not funny at all on another hand.
Well, I've got an order of baby oil coming, so my OnlyFans will be getting set up next week.
I'm not being funny. I think there'd be a queue of ladies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, telling me to stop that.
I don't know. You see, I don't know, but no,
I'd like to think that if I did that, I would get into trouble from Lisa, but she'd probably be going, right, well, are you making money? Well, that's fine then. As long as I'm not touching you.
You got to get the priorities in order, that's the way it is. But no, I mean,
as long as there's enough money to buy marquees for the dog.
Well, that's it. I'm just joking, obviously, and I know it's probably, easier for, you know, obviously females are sort of, in a way, kind of more potentially have more viability on a platform like that. But I think it's incredibly sad, and it's an incredible
Yeah,
sad indictment of the music industry at the moment. But
yeah.
I think at the heart of it, and I do see a lot of students that are absolutely committed to the music that they play and the instruments that they play and getting better and better. And
Well, you see, that's good then. That makes me feel better, because obviously I don't see that, because I'm not involved in that. But you know, you're working in colleges and stuff like that, and teaching things. So you're seeing a lot of the younger ones, and you like. It's nice to hear that there are some of the younger ones who are still thinking the same way. They are still striving. They still care about something. They still care about the music, and that's great, because that gives us hope. Then it's just we need to try and just widen that. We need to try and spread that about and get more and more thinking that way.
try and
Otherwise,
widen it a little bit.
otherwise we're in trouble.
We are certainly. I mean, so what would a healthier or fairer music industry look like to you?
That's a great question.
It's quite a big one, though. So
I think I don't know. That's a good one. I think it would be it would be nice to just see hard work rewarded, in music for musicians, as it is, as hard work is rewarded for anybody else, any other walk of life. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think if people actually knew the amount of work that gets put in at times from people like us, and it's like people go to different industries and work, and they work hard for a year. All of a sudden they're promoted. They work hard for another year. They get another big promotion. We work hard for another year, and then all of a sudden they're in the top percent of their peers in their industry. You imagine that happening in 3 years for us?
I very much doubt it, especially without a lot of money backing.
Try 30 years and we're still at it.
Yeah.
And also, well, I know that there's a difference between some of those faceless arena gigs and all that, but there's one thing that does annoy me when you do work like this, and you do work hard and you try your best to progress, and then you get the internet police saying, yeah, I don't really want to watch them in that venue that holds 1,000 people, because I like to see them in the small places. Why can't you just play there? It's like, well, okay then. Did you go to your job 30 years ago? And would you be happy if you didn't get promoted anyway, didn't make any progress in 30 years, still doing exactly the same jobs you were 30 years ago? You put that logic to them, surely the penny's got to drop. But I understand that people like to see a band in an intimate setting. I get that, but if you're doing that your whole career, then you're probably doing it living in a cardboard box.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't afford to live.
It's not sustainable, is it? It really isn't.
It's not.
So this new album, I think the point we got to get across as well is that, yeah, we love streams. We don't love them, but we love them because that's what people measure us by a lot of the time, even though it's pretty much a pile of rubbish. Sorry, everyone. Because the true measurement is the people that come to the gigs, that buy, and that support us. So really, economically, is the merch and the physical copies and the vinyl still number one for you financially?
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. With all the other ways of receiving music being so cheap, and a lot of it for free nowadays, the cost of making an album doesn't change. In fact, that only goes up every year. It's more expensive to make an album now than it was 20 years ago. And so we need to, bands like us, I mean, like I say, we're not young kiddywinks. So we need to have that physical product. We need to have that there to sell. We need it, and it's mostly when you're on the road. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps the business floating afloat, keeps money coming in and sitting in the kitty. Because there's just always ongoing expenditure all the time for everything all the time. So that's a necessary. Um, it's but yeah, it's harder to sell because everyone, even some of the older audience, are like, you've got, they want it on their computer, they want it on their phone, they want it on their Spotify. Because they've got into that as well, and that's fair enough. That's absolutely fine, but it doesn't make it any easier for us. But we just have to carry on. There's no other way to go about this. We have to do this. We could say, "Oh yeah, we're bringing out a new album. There's not going to be any CDs for anybody to buy. You just have to get it all online, and we could do that if we want, but we'll never make a penny." But we've also got to spend a lot of money getting it all done. T-shirts and all the merchandise and everything else, all the promotion and everything else, all of that. It's all got to be done. We've got to pay people to, I'll sit and talk to someone about an art design for a cover, and then you got to pay someone else to do that. We can't always be expert at all of it and do it all by ourselves. I wish I could. And then I can save myself a fortune, but that's not how it works. And also, it's good to keep people working. It's good to keep people. It's good to keep money in the industry for people that work in that game, rather than someone sitting at a computer like we talked about the film industry. Some guy sitting by himself creating an entire film. Other people are losing out. So we're spreading the money around. We're keeping the economy going, but it's getting harder and harder. But everything, just nothing changes in terms of the expense or what it costs. You just have to sell it cheaper.
Yeah.
So you're making less profit, but you're still paying the same money. I mean, I shudder to think what the bill's going to look like for this album when it comes in. But
especially vinyl. I mean, I know I get asked, "Oh, you bring it out on vinyl? Bring it out on vinyl?" It's like, I really want to bring it out on vinyl. I'm gonna have to look at ways of doing that because
there's such a long waiting list for it, isn't there?
Yeah,
and then the turnaround on it's quite small, and especially as well with these things like T-shirts. I mean, maybe some people don't realise that either, because they're not involved in that kind of world. But like, if you've got a brand new T-shirt and there's a pattern on it with colours, every single colour that's on there makes it cost more and more money. So eventually, but you can't sell the T-shirt for more money because there's extra colours on it. You've got to sell the T-shirt at the same price. So, but that margin then becomes smaller and smaller. So you've got to sell more and more and more to actually make any money after you've paid all the expenses back on getting them printed. But oh God, we sound depressing, don't we?
I just think we're talking real. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just honesty, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
honesty, that's what it is. And yeah, I'd love to bring out, and I know I see a lot of people bringing out 5 different coloured vinyls and this, that, and the other. And yeah, it'd be great to do that, but I just haven't got the money,
No,
And I'm
absolutely,
no
yeah.
shade on them. If they've got the money, then do what they bloody well like. But
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
that's just the way
Quite
it is.
right, yeah. But that's the reality. It's not that we don't want to do these things. It's just, if you walk into the corner shop with nothing in your pockets and you want a Mars bar, you can't get a Mars bar because you've no money.
Exactly. But what we've got is, new songs being written, amazing songs. I remember when you sent me Strong, and I just thought, oh, just absolutely love it. So the passion is still there, the energy is still there.
To be honest, Rebecca, if the passion wasn't there, I wouldn't even be talking like this. I would no longer care. But it's the fact that I'm getting animated about it, and I get passionate. It's because I care. If I didn't, it would be worse because I'd be like, whatever.
Absolutely, but it's you've always stayed your own man. You've got you've stayed true to the songs. You've never sold the songs onto anyone else. You own it. You own those songs. It's about what we've been talking about is trying to make a business model such as yours sustainable and carry on. So it's just all we're saying to people is we ain't moaning and we bloody love you coming to see the shows. You are what keeps us going. But we just want you to know sometimes we have to do certain things to make it viable. It's not that we're being greedy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So when when you announce a tour and you see like more comments about what town you're not playing in and why, you kind of think, yeah, shut up.
Yeah, because sometimes
Shut
it
up
just
moaning.
isn't viable to go, and you know, on a much smaller level, people ask
Well,
me,
when you're
"Oh,
playing 20 miles down the road from that town, you think, well, that's why we're not playing in that one.
yeah, we just can't because if you
But, you
play
know, we
too
can't always play on
close,
everyone's doorstep.
yeah, and there's good reasons for that as well. If you play too close, it just splits the audience, and
Yeah.
then both of those gigs
Yep.
lose money. So even though we would like to play absolutely everywhere, it is just trying to make it viable. It's not trying to forget people or
I'm just going
whatever.
to I'm just going to intervene in that one and just say for the
Go for
audience, the
it.
listeners, that I don't want to play absolutely everywhere.
Okay, I
There's
take
tons
that
of
back.
places
Alan
I
does
don't
not
ever
want to
want to go
play.
to.
Are you telling me you don't want to play in my living room? What is going on, Alan?
You've heard me singing in your living room. It's
I
not
have
pretty.
heard you singing in my living room. Do you remember all those? You loved it. You absolutely loved it with Ralph listening. You loved
I
it.
did, yes.
He sends his woofy regards to you.
Good, good, good. Pal's down the stairs, pawing at Lisa for a marquee.
Well, we just love our dogs, don't we? But so the album is out. It's going to be released the 29th of September. Have I got
28th
that
of
right?
September, yes. Light Up the Sky.
Light up the
Yes, the
sky.
pre-order's now on sale as well, so that would be great if we could start seeing some people getting pre-order. It'd make me feel better if I seen some pre-orders coming in, because it means you're looking forward to the album, and because of the waiting time for vinyl, then the vinyl won't be available till December. So, but you pre-order that as well. But by the time we're out on tour, you can order that as well. But just check with the website, check with all that stuff to see what's available that you can pre-order now. I'm not quite sure. I've seen bits of it the other day because we were doing the bundles lists and what was and all that kind of stuff. But then I think I've got a headache.
I can tell how much you
I'm going
love
out.
it. I can feel it coming across.
Yeah,
Don't you say?
I just want to be the pretty musician.
Well, Alan, I think really you do achieve that. So, do you know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah.
So, folks, like Alan, it's amazing talking to you as always. Like, you are my big bro. Love you so much. Please
Thank
go
you.
and get these pre-orders, everyone. It's going to be a cracking album. It always is. It's King, isn't it?
Well, yeah, of
So,
course.
thank you so much, my darling.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks to Alan for his time and honesty. Do please check out the pre-sale for the new King album. There's a link in the show notes below. And join me next week when I talk to Mark Eade, manager, promoter and agent. Thank you all for listening and or watching, and I'll see you next time.